Oh, I love coffee. Hello, and welcome back to Writer Sanctuary. Today I want to talk a little bit about diversifying yourself as a writer. Being flexible is one of the key points to being a writer for any kind of system. The more you're able to adapt to a client's needs, the more work you'll get thrown your way. Diversity also includes being able to write different types of content depending on what the client's looking for. For instance, you might have a client that wants some product descriptions for an auction website, or you might have somebody who wants something that's more news related, and there's completely two different types of writing there. Product descriptions, blog posts, news articles, they're all different styles. The first thing I suggest is signing up for more than one content mill. Now, if you like systems like TextBroker like I do, you also have access to Writer Access, Fiverr, Hire Writers, and there's a ton of them out there. At any one given time, I had 3 browser windows open, one for TextBroker, Writer Access, and Fiverr, and I just jump back and forth between all 3 of them, depending on where the work was. Some days I'd spend most of the time on Fiverr, and other days it'd be nothing but TextBroker. The point is when you diversify what systems you use, you have access to a lot more clients, which is quite helpful if you're trying to get as much money as possible. Unfortunately, each one of these systems pays at different intervals, so at one point I was getting paid weekly from TextBroker, monthly from Writer Access, and then every 2 weeks or so from Fiverr. But when you process quite a bit of content, it all kind of balances out and you get a constant flow of income. The next thing you ought to do to diversify yourself is try out different categories. When I first started writing, I focused purely on computer and internet related material because I was the CEO of my own business for 4 years. That's what it centered around, so that was my expertise. But when I started jumping into everything from animals to travel, I widened the scope of how many clients I could have. Don't be afraid to try something new. I didn't know anything about travel blogs, so I decided to give them a try, and it turned out to be one of my favorite things I write about. I can't count the number of times I've completed projects surrounding Machu Picchu. I've never even been there. But don't be afraid to try something new and try to expand into something you don't know about. That's the whole purpose of it. Being able to learn something new while you're creating content. It's one of the reasons why I expanded like I did. I love to learn new things, and being able to write for a client for something like marketing or gaming or technology, it just really sucks me in. Which is why I know so many useless facts about just about every topic you can think of. Thirdly, when you're on TextBroker especially, sign up for as many teams as possible. Most of my income comes from teams. I'm invited all the time by TextBroker managed teams and client teams. You get signed up with enough of these teams and you'll have so much work coming your way that you can't really keep up with it all. I especially belong to like 3 or 4 high production teams that constantly feed work into the system. So if it wasn't for my regular daily retaining client, I could still be able to pay the bills quite easily. Now, not every system uses teams, but if you're on TextBroker, you can make quite a bit. The next thing I would do is practice different styles of writing. Now, I kind of mentioned this earlier where you have like several different types. Every client is going to want something different. However, most of them center around a specific style. And there's a big world of difference between writing a product description and a blog about a product. For one thing, the product descriptions are usually quite short, between about 100 and 150 words, trying to be as detailed as possible without having a lot of the flair that a blog will have. If you don't know how to write different styles, you can always look it up online. But the more of the different styles that you know, the more valuable you become to your clients. It's like becoming a jack of all trades. Another way to diversify yourself for success as a writer is to go outside of the content mills. I've made more money from retaining clients outside of sites like TextBroker than I ever did inside content mills. Not only are you cutting out the middleman and having to suffer a bunch of fees, usually a lot of the businesses outside of content mills will wind up paying you far more per word than you ever make at sites like TextBroker and Writer Access. Now, I'm not saying that content mills are worthless. In fact, I've made a ton of money doing both. But I find that having a retaining client is far more beneficial in the long run, especially when you want to make money and make a name for yourself. And lastly, diversifying yourself sometimes includes offering more than just writing content, especially in systems like Fiverr, who encourage offering additional services. For instance, you can offer someone you'll write so many words for them for a certain amount, or if they pay a little bit extra, you'll also offer graphic design or stock photos. I've seen a few gigs on Fiverr where the author would offer SEO services on top of writing. With my retaining client, I write, do the SEO, and most of the graphics myself, which is part of the reason why they pay me so much. Now, I know like systems with TextBroker, you don't have that ability. You're strictly content, and that's okay. But if you're signed up with Fiverr or if you get an external client, definitely offers something more than just words. So anyway, I hope that helps you out a little bit. So what do you think? I would love to hear your ways to diversify yourself as a freelance writer if you leave them in the comments down below. But anyways, I guess that'll do it for today. Kind of a short one, but I am up to my ass in work, so have a good one, and I'll see you next time.